Welcome to the Reddit Chronicles. Today we are on Am I the Jerk? Our first post is by Vast Lead. Am I the jerk for showing a spreadsheet of everything I pay for and showing their dad doesn't do anything? Okay, I'm getting mixed opinions from this. 2 kids 13 and 11. I'm not going to lie, we live a pretty frugal life. All my extra money I make goes into their college accounts or fun weekends. Dad has them once a month and is the fun parent. Can't get his child payments in, but willing to do a surprise trip to Kennywood. It's frustrating, all right. I try not to say anything bad about him, but he has been pushing the narrative that without him and the money he gives me, we wouldn't have the home. It's so false, and now the kids are going, well, Dad pays for this. My last straw is when the kids told me that it's Dad who pays for the home. So I pulled up my budget spreadsheet, and it includes all the stuff that he pays for, so child support, and he hasn't paid for the past 2 months. The kids were upset for being lied to, and the oldest get in an argument with him since she called to confirm. We got in an argument, and he is calling me a jerk. My friends are split on this, and I am wondering if I went too far. Our next post is by Am I the A for kicking them out? Am I the jerk for kicking my girlfriend and her kids out and putting them in a bad spot? She's my ex-girlfriend now technically. I 30M, dated Julia, 25F, for a year. She's fun and very beautiful, and I was convinced we were going to make it all work. Last month her lease ran out, and because she has a prior eviction on record and rent prices have soared recently, she wasn't able to secure another home in time. I own my own home, and since I didn't want my girlfriend and her kids to be homeless, I reluctantly agreed she could move in with me. I was somewhat on the fence about kids before, but I'd gotten along with her kids just fine all the times we'd hung out. Once they moved in, it was hell. They took over all my personal spaces, colored on my walls, made huge messes. I realized Julia does not clean up after her children well. She only did it when I'd come to visit her before. I felt like she deceived me into thinking she's a good mom. All she did once moving in was sit on the couch while her children ran wild. She also said she has no money once she moved in, and she expected me to pay for everything for her and her 3 kids. After 3 weeks, I snapped and packed up her stuff and the kids while she was at work and put it in my shed. I told her we were done and she and her kids can't stay here anymore. Where I live, you only have rights if you've lived somewhere a month, so since it was only 3 weeks, I was legally in the clear. I thought about giving her more time to find somewhere else to stay, but that would just allow her to gain tenancy, which means I would have to legally evict her, which takes forever. I feel like Julia pretended to be someone she wasn't in order for me to support her. She says she's been depressed, but I don't think that's a good excuse to let her kids rub goldfish into my carpet. Am I the jerk for kicking out my girlfriend and her kids before they could gain tenancy? Next up, posted by Grapefruit. Am I the jerk for forcing my stepdaughter to cut her hair? I 31, met my husband, 34M, 8 years ago, and we have been married for 6. He has an 11-year-old daughter from a previous relationship. I work from home, so I mainly end up taking care of her. I have since she was young. We have a generally good relationship. She stays at her mother's most weekends. She has incredibly long blonde wavy hair just past her bottom. It's a nightmare to take care of. It frequently tangles, and she always needs help brushing and styling it before school. I'm not a morning person, and I do not like having to wake up early to do a kid's hair. It's expensive to maintain as she requires more products. She insists on using hair oils, which can cost around $11 and only last a few weeks. She also insists she has to use curly hair shampoo instead of regular shampoo and conditioner, which is often over $10 per bottle, and she goes through it at a fast rate. She won't use a regular brush on it, as she insists it breaks her hair and hurts, so she uses a wide tooth comb, which takes a long time to brush when she could be doing other more productive things, such as homework or helping me with chores. I decided she had become obsessed with her hair, and I do not want her to become vain. So I decided it needs to be cut. I don't see it as a big deal, as I have always had shoulder-length hair, as my hair does not grow very fast and I get frequent trims. It's a lot more practical. I took her to the hairdressers as normal. In the car on the way down, she said she wants to make sure the hairdresser doesn't cut too much. I politely explained that I would like her to cut her hair to shoulder length as it has become a burden. At first, she thought I was joking, but when she realized, she started to cry. When we got to the salon, the hairdresser was reluctant to cut her hair due to her tears, but I explained the trouble we have maintaining it and assured cutting it would be best for her. In the end, the stylist agreed and cut her hair. The stylist braided her hair, then cut it. She kept it. Her hair was now just past shoulder length and looked a lot darker. The car journey home was silent. I offered her McDonald's, but she refused. She went straight to her room when we got back. My husband went up to see her when he got home and apparently found her on her bed sobbing, holding her old hair. My husband immediately called her mother to come and collect her, and as soon as my stepdaughter was out the door, he started yelling. Her mother also came in and gave me a mouthful. I explained my reasoning, but my husband wouldn't budge. He said if I had issue, he would have did her hair in the mornings and that he didn't mind paying for the products. He was so furious, he said he no longer trusts me around his daughter and doesn't know if he can be with a woman who he doesn't trust with her. This broke my heart. I didn't mean her any harm. I was just so tired and I'm trying to reduce stress. I've always been the one to raise her and her brother, and I'm just exhausted. Am I the jerk? Our next post is by OKFig. Am I the jerk for refusing to print out some forms for my stepdaughter? Stepdaughter 17 and I don't have a relationship, nor any form of interaction for the last 2 years. I used to be friendly to her and her 2 siblings, helping here and there with what they needed. Shopping, pick up and drop off to different activities, plus I was also doing all the cooking, cleaning, entertaining, organizing trips and activities for all. But no matter how nice or helpful I was to her, I always felt rejected. Initially, I thought it was normal, and it was a matter of time for her to open up to me. Her other 2 siblings were simply cordial, which was fine to me. 4 years passed by, and things got worse. She was only acknowledging me whenever she needed something. Other than that, I was made feel like an object. No hello, goodbye, not even looking at me. We both could be in the same room, and she'd just pass me by like if I was part of the decor. She was always wearing her AirPods around me, and she was never helpful around the house. Neither her siblings. I got tired of feeling used and rejected, so I stopped doing anything with and for her. Husband was not happy at all. We had so many fights and arguments about it, but I stood my ground. After 2 years of having peace of mind by not acknowledging one another, husband is out of town texting me that his daughter wants to know if she can email me some forms to print out and give them to her. Not only I said no, but also pointed out at how ballsy she was for requesting my help considering our situation. Also got mad at my husband for entertaining her request knowing how bad things are among us. Acknowledging me only when she needs my free services was one of the many reasons I wanted nothing to do with her. I had a big fight with my husband over the phone. He's beyond upset at me and finds me petty. Stepdaughter lives with her mom, a couple blocks away from us. She has an older half-brother that also lives in the neighborhood. They get along very well. Her mom has lots of friends and extended family, so clearly, I'm not the only resource she has. The task wasn't going to take lots of my time and effort. Even though it was requested at 10 p.m., I could have printed it out and left it in the front porch for her to pick it up in the morning. So, am I the jerk for not helping the stepdaughter with her simple request? Our next post is by 3 Kids, AITA. Am I the jerk for not giving my husband a single hour off on Father's Day? My husband, 36M, and I, 33F, have been married for 8 years and have 3 kids, 5, 3, and a 1-month-old infant. I am currently still recovering from my planned C-section, and it is taking a lot longer than I had hoped. I am not on bed rest, but pretty darn close. Unless it's to go to the bathroom or changing or feeding my baby, I'm pretty much always sitting or laying down. I don't like it, but it's what my body needs to heal right now. Both my husband and I are still on paternity leave. Obviously, that means that pretty much every other aspect of our lives falls on my husband right now. He's been doing a great job of taking care of the older kids and making sure everything in our lives is running as smoothly as it can given our circumstances. He's also great about taking care of the baby and giving me breaks as much as he can. But I can tell it's starting to wear on him mentally and physically. Neither of us is sleeping well, and I swear he looks like he's lost more weight than I have since the baby came. Due to me being pretty much immobile, I can't really go out of the house to do anything without assistance, so I wasn't able to plan anything really fun for Father's Day. I did help the older kids make him cards and ordered him some nice steaks to cook though. I felt bad because for Mother's Day, he bought me a 6-hour pregnancy spa treatment and took the older kids out of the house all day so I could have peace. But on the morning of Father's Day, I was feeling worse than usual, as I had to strain myself the day before to pick up something off the floor, and I aggravated my incision. So I was laid up all day. Again, this meant my husband had to do literally everything that day. By the time he got the older kids to bed, I could tell he was irritated and upset. I told him to try and relax for a bit, but then the baby started fussing and he jumped up off the couch, grabbed a pillow, and screamed into it. I tried to calm him down, but he just kept freaking out about how he's at his wit's end and he needs a break, and that I couldn't even find a way to give him a single hour of quiet on Father's Day. I started crying, and he just looked at me and walked away to take care of the baby without saying anything. After he took care of the baby, he came back to me and apologized, but he said he needs a break and he's going to talk to family about taking the older kids for a week or so, and that he's just disappointed that his Father's Day was spent running around doing everything for everyone else. He didn't even get to cook his steaks, he ate cold pizza for dinner. I asked him what I was supposed to do because it's not like I can move or leave the house, and he said I could have looked into a sitter for the kids or made them sit with me and watch a movie for an hour so he could have just a sliver of time for himself. He said he feels like his needs are at the bottom of the list and he just wanted to feel like he matters for one day. Thank you for listening to the Reddit Chronicles. Follow for more content.